Here are 3 natural fabrics that are actually not very natural. Number 1, superwash wool. Did you know that a lot of wool is actually coated in plastic? Yep, I just learned that. So all wool comes from a sheep. They shave off the fur of the sheep. And there's a lot of wool out there that then goes through what's called a superwash process, okay? They chemically process it with chlorine and then they coat it in a nylon polymer, all right? This means that it's washable, right? However, just so you know, there are ways you can superwash merino wool and have it not coated in plastic. I would say that superwash wool is still going to be a million times better than just like a straight plastic fabric. Number 2, satin. So a lot of people think that like if they get a satin or silk bonnet or a clothing like a chemise or a robe, it comes from natural mulberry silk, which actually is like the silk from a moth. But unfortunately, that's not true. Satin actually denotes the process and the weave, right, of that fabric. It doesn't actually denote the material. So unfortunately, a lot of it these days is made out of polyester. And sometimes it can actually be really, really hard to tell. A good way to find out is to try and go for mulberry silk, right? It's definitely going to be a lot more expensive and it's probably hand washable. It's probably not machine washable. However, even then it can be really hard to tell. Here are some brands that I do trust when it comes to silk and satin, okay? And then lastly, bamboo. Bamboo, it's what the pandas eat. It's totally sustainable and doesn't use pesticides to grow. However, it requires so much chemical processing to go from like the bamboo stalk that the pandas eat to those like cute kids' pajamas that are calling themselves bamboo, that it's not really natural anymore, right? It's kind of like a Frankenfiber. It's kind of like you get those meat sticks, like a Slim Jim at the 7-Eleven, like calling those a steak. They're not a steak, kind of like what they do with bamboo. And in fact, there have actually been some laws put into place that textiles cannot call themselves bamboo after they go through this extensive process. They should not just say straight bamboo because it's not, right? It's not. It's a Slim Jim. In regards to harmful chemicals, there's, again, very little information on what actually remains on the fabric after it's been made. However, during the process, they do use lots of really hazardous chemicals when they're breaking that fiber down. I'm always going to recommend cotton and linen, right? And again, a non-superwash wool, and look for certifications. That is always going to be the best way to go when it comes to something that you're putting on your body.